Okay, we'll start off with a statement from Coach Casey.
Well, we certainly didn't play our best baseball today, and we weren't, we weren't the better team on the field. That's for sure. They were. I know we're capable of playing much better, and a lot of the mistakes we made came back to hurt us. And I thought we competed. I thought we battled, stayed with it. We just didn't play the game of baseball very well.
Okay, another reminder, no flash photography and no video. Well, you can get it off the malt box. Open it up for questions for the student athletes, please. Raise your hand, we'll get a mic to you. We'll start over here with Sam.
Sam Kahn, ESPN.com. For both players, just with some of the struggles both defensively and on the mound, how frustrating was it today with just the kind of game you guys played?
Adley, you start, please.
You never like to lose. Losing's not fun, and a game like today where you can play better is probably the biggest thing for us as players, knowing that we can compete at a higher level, and knowing that we're capable of more is probably the most disappointing thing for us. And but we'll be back. We'll be prepared to play.
Trevor.
It's baseball. It happens. Definitely didn't want it to happen today, but it happened. We'll bounce back next time.
Okay, right here.
Michael Nano, Baseball America. Adley, from your perspective, what was Luke doing out there today that UNC was able to figure out, and just how difficult of a lineup is that to pitch to?
North Carolina's a good team. Luke's a very good pitcher. Today he wasn't able to command his stuff as well as he would have liked to, which is unfortunate. Luke's a phenomenal guy and a phenomenal pitcher, very competitive guy, and I know, to not be able to throw his best in his first game in Omaha probably kills him. But, we know he'll be back and better, so, I have no worries.
Okay, next question. Guys, we have some more time. Aaron.
Aaron Fitt, D1 Baseball. And I know you guys aren't going to want to make any excuses, but how much of a factor was the heat? I mean, it's something that I'm sure you guys aren't really used to playing in those kind of conditions. Do you think that was a factor at all?
Trevor, you start, please.
Definitely don't remember it being this hot last year, but it is what it is. You got to deal with it. You got to play through it. I'm more concerned for Rutsch. He's back there catching with all the gear. I'm standing in the outfield, so it was whatever to me. I'm sure it wasn't a big factor to the guys, but it's there, and it is what it is.
Adley.
Yeah, I mean, you can, from the moment you step on the field, it's hot, but it's one of those things that a lot of our guys are able to kind of block out of their minds, which is really good and kind of attests to our team as a whole. When it's hot out, you just got to, the biggest thing is worrying about that, hydration and whatnot. Our trainers do a great job of hydrating us, and, I just think that kind of that mental side, can be a factor, but I think our guys do a really good job of blocking it out.
Okay, back here in the back, Kaylee.
Kenneth Pancake, the Gateway. So a 4.5-hour game. It was the longest 9-inning game in CWS history. How did that affect your performance and your stamina over the game? Adley first, and then Trevor.
Okay.
When you got long innings behind the plate and in the field, I know, for Trevor, he's, out in right field. But, when you get those long innings, it's really important for us as a defensive team to just make sure that we have that energy and are making sure to breathe while we're out there. Because, sometimes when it gets dead or, you have those long innings, it can kind of spiral just because, things seem to not be going your way, even though you might have only given up one run during the inning. So just making sure to keep that energy with that pitcher and that communication, just kind of that positive mentality with him, and letting that everyone's got your back is kind of makes it seem shorter than it is. Obviously a 4.5-hour game is pretty long, but we did a good job with it.
Like Rutsch said, the long innings, they kind of make things difficult, but we haven't played in about a week, so it is what it is. Doesn't make any difference for us. We're out playing in the heat. Long innings, doesn't matter. We're trying to get a win.
Do you have any more questions for the players? Guys, we excuse you, and then we'll see you Monday. Thank you. Now, questions for Pat. Let's hold on a second. Let's let them clear out. Kendall?
Roger D1 Baseball. Pat, from your perspective, looking at Heimlich, did you sense he was nervous? What did you kind of see from him from the get-go?
Well, it's difficult because I haven't seen that before, but he certainly didn't have his stuff. I don't think he was nervous. I don't know. He just couldn't command anything. He couldn't get it to go where he wanted. I think that it's tough when you can't throw the ball across the plate, and he wasn't used to that. Certainly come out and don't make the first play of the game, and I don't know. He just never had a rhythm, and he could never find it. And when you got a guy that's an All-American, he gives up 6 earnings and 3 innings or something. That's tough.
Get back here.
Matt DeMarinis, White and Blue Review. Pat, I guess really the mistakes came early and often for you guys. What did you see out of your team as far as something you could put your finger on for why there were so many and so costly? The mistakes that we don't make, so it was tough for me to tell you exactly what was going on. We made some errors we shouldn't have made. We made some base running mistakes. It all starts on the mound and defending. Every game is – we had 13 hits, but we didn't defend and we didn't pitch, and therefore, we couldn't close the gap. I thought that a couple things that happened that could have changed tighten the score a little bit, and like I said, we could just never get it turned around. It seemed like when we got it turned around, somebody'd boot a ball, we'd walk somebody, we'd go from 0-2 to 3-2, we'd give up a hit. I don't know if I knew the answer to that, I would have turned around during the middle of the game. But it's pretty hard when these guys come out and play 60 games, come in here, you trust the way they play. This game isn't easy. I'm not certain that there's anything that they didn't prepare for. They just didn't play well.
Okay, Sam over here.
Sam Conn, ESPN.com. With the length of the game, length of the innings, some of the innings, and combined with the heat, what kind of impact did that have on the game, in your opinion?
Well, I don't think it had any impact on the game from our standpoint. I think it was as hot for them as it was for us. I think, obviously, the kids that were on the field, those were some long innings. Guys behind the plate, that's difficult. But, I don't think that, the wind didn't have an effect, I don't think, on the game like it could have. I don't think the heat had obviously it was warm. There's no question about it. But, North Carolina had to endure the same circumstances as we did, and we talked about that prior to the game. We talk about those things all the time. If you let those things bother you, then they can be a problem.
Okay, right here.
Jonathan Alexander with the News and Observer in Raleigh, North Carolina. Coach, there's been a lot of media attention around Luke, so I was wondering, how do you think he's handled that so far in the College World Series?
I think he's done a real good job.
Okay, Matt again.
I know this is probably the last thing on your mind, given that you just lost a game, but is there anything that goes through your mind when you're sitting through a game that goes as long as that is? I know part of it is that just every pitch is so important, but in terms of things that you think maybe could be taken out that could help the pace of the game move along?
Do I think about things that could help the pace of the game move along? Oh, you're talking about shortened college baseball within itself? Yeah, I'm sure there are. They could limit the number of trips catchers could go out. We can eliminate the 3-1 move. I think we've sped the game up pretty good. I just think that it's going to be a long game when you walk people and make errors. 4.5 hours is too long to be on the field. You can go to a big league game and those things can happen as well. But I'm certainly not thinking about those things during the game.
Okay, we'll have time for one last question for Pat, if anybody wants to take it. And we do.
Coach, I'm sorry if you've already answered this. I came in a little bit late, but just going back to the call that was made at third base and the NCAA rules about reviewing things, do you have an opinion on if that should be a play that should go under review, or if that's just the way that ball's played and that you guys have to deal with it and move on?
Well, there's two parts of that. One, I definitely think that that play should have been reviewed, and then I believe it would have been overturned. So it is what it is. It's not a reviewable play. You cannot review that. There are about 5 things you can review, and those are plays at the plate. Those are fair or foul ball beyond the first and third baseman that hit the ground first, catches in the outfield or non-catches, catches in the infield that makes the last out, and catches in the infield with a batter runner. So non-reviewable play. I'll have to watch it. We had somebody come down and say that he was out. I'm not saying that because everybody. It's tough to make calls. So that's just one incident that obviously that's a run on the board for them and tighten the game. But that's certainly not it's not a factor in the game. The biggest factor in the game was that we didn't play the game the way we can play it, and it's a game of baseball, and you got to play it better than we played it today if you're going to beat good teams like Carolina.
Okay, Pat, thank you.
All right, thank you, guys.
Talk to you Monday.